child pose, Balasana. So Balasana, again, is using that hinge motion that we learned for Uttanasana. We do want to find a little bit of hinge motion. And a lot of people push this pose, I feel like. They don't necessarily use the extension in their hips or are able to drop their hips far enough back. And then they don't get the benefits of this pose and aren't able to really extend out where they need to be. So if you have a ball, you can use a ball. If you have yoga blocks, use yoga blocks, depending on what you have for props. I like to start off my child pose. You'll go through it in a lot of different ways coming into it. But just by stretching the front of my legs first and getting that pointing of the feet, stretching out the tops of my feet, stretching out those ankles. If you can't do that, you can come into child pose from this position. You're going to stretch the bottom of your feet, but as you work up to some flexibility, I encourage you to try to keep working on that pointy toes. All right, if your knees are comfortable this way, you're going to sit on a yoga block and bring it up. Always add extra padding if you need to, so you don't have that extended angle on your knees. And you can come up into a couple of them. You can also do this from a seated position, but chair yoga is a whole nother story. So I'm just demonstrating if you are able to get onto the floor. Now, find your comfortable position, and we're going to find that hinge again. So part of that is not rounding down again. We're going to drive, imagine that we're pushing our hips back and bring the hands together again between the thigh and that hip. So find that. If you can keep that, we're going to fold forward. If you need support, you can use a ball here to help support your lower back a little bit, and you can rest here. Take a block or two, prop yourself up however you need. So if this is far down as you can go comfortably, this is a great start to child pose. As you increase, you can come here, you can move the ball out of the way, sink your hips back, walk your hands forward, move the ball out of the way, and bring the head to the floor. Now notice that my hips lift up a little bit. My hips do lift up off my heels. If you need to, widen your legs out. If that doesn't hurt your lower back, let your belly come down through. Keeping the knees together supports your lower back a little bit more. And you can let your feet come off. They make thinner blocks. If you want to find that connection, you can put stuff there. If it's coming off, your hips are coming off a lot, use that prop. Put a block between your heels. So you find that connection from the hinge pushing into your heels. Walk the hands forward, relax your shoulders away from your ears. Let the elbows drop. And lengthen through the spine. Balasana is great for drawing breath into our back rib cage, finding that space behind our heart, getting into the heart chakra, getting into that space and allowing for the breath to come into the back ribs where we actually breathe a little bit deeper and oxygen exchange happens just a little bit better. So if you can find that lengthening, pushing back through that hinge motion, strengthening the spine, lengthening the spine, bringing the third eye to the ground. And again, if you don't reach the ground with your head, use the blocks. Use as many as you need to prop yourself up to find that comfortable, supported position. When you come out of Balasana, walk yourself up as needed. A lot of times we come out of Balasana straight up and into downward facing dog. So you do what you need to do to come out of